Amazon is facing a number of challenges currently. Obviously, most substantively, it is the unionization drive going on in Alabama right now. But they've also owned gold themselves so many times on social media recently that there's clearly some other challenges too. And I can't think of anyone right now who's doing a better job of helping expose what Amazon is and how they're fighting against this unionization drive than one Kenneth Klippenstein, reporter for The Intercept and returning guest to the Damage Report. Ken, how's it going?
Hey, I'm doing all right. How are you doing, John?
I'm doing pretty good. Feel like the pandemic's getting a little bit better, maybe, and feeling a little bit of hope actually about what's going on with Amazon, especially like Bernie Sanders has been doing a great job of shedding light on that. People seem really fired up about it. You've gotten involved by offering yourself up as a source for leaks from current and former employees of Amazon. And you've been producing great work at The Intercept about what you've found out. So what are some of the highlights of what's been shared with you?
Yeah, so really the genesis of all of this, as much as I'd like to take credit as reporter and brush my mantle and say, oh, I've done all this wonderful stuff. People are reaching out to me because they're angry at the company. And these are people inside of the company. And the folks I talk to, it's over, like I've never seen anything like it. And what's driving a lot of the anger is that last week, their PR Twitter account responded to a number of high profile lawmakers, in particular Representative Mark Pocan, as well as Senators Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. In the case of Pocan, he was criticizing them for the worker conditions in their fulfillment centers, which there have been a number of reports alleging that the individual workers were having to urinate in bottles in order to meet these really bruising quotas, which was a story I heard again and again when I talked to folks that worked in these fulfillment centers. But the way that they responded to Pocan's pretty fair-minded critique, I thought, was to say, you don't really believe the urinating in bottles things, do you? If that was true, no one would work here. And people inside the company who see this all the time were furious. Not just that it happens, because as sad as it is, they've seen so much of it that they've just kind of, my impression has become a nerd to it, but that the company would misrepresent it like that. And what they told me, what I didn't know at first was two things. One is I thought, okay, this probably happens. There've been reports of it. It's probably not super frequent, I would guess, but we'll find out. What I found out was that it was really frequent. But I'll get into that in a second. The other thing I didn't know was if this was known to senior management, because oftentimes at the level of senior executives, they don't know what goes on at the ground level. They're completely out of touch. It's sort of like, it's kind of like the Lucille Bluth thing, where it's like, how much could a banana cost? $10? That's kind of what a lot of executives think. So I thought, well, maybe they just didn't know because they're sitting in an air-conditioned room and they have no idea. But what I found, based on primary source documents that were leaked to me from people inside the company, as well as countless verbal accounts, was that management knows about this and they address it frequently in meetings, and that they've also mentioned primary source documents a minute ago. They've memorialized this in formal policy directives. They've got on the books references to it and ways to punish it, that sort of thing. So they absolutely know that this is going on. Well, not just that it's happening, but it happens all the time.
So that's interesting because you said ways to punish it, and you're not talking about punishing lower managers for creating the conditions where workers have to urinate in bottles. You're talking about punishing the people for urinating in bottles.
Yeah, so what Amazon would say is that, if it happens, we don't approve of it. We tell people not to do it. And that's true that they tell people not to do it, but it's disingenuous because when I talked to over a dozen people for this series of stories. What I heard again and again was there were never any concessions made to slow things down, even in the middle of an unprecedented pandemic that saw Amazon become a sort of shadow government where they're having to provide the logistical support for goods and services that people could no longer get by going to grocery stores and things anymore. There was no attempt to slow anything down. Full knowledge that not just that they were urinating in bottles, but what I found, and this hadn't been reported before, is that they're defecating in bags just to meet these awful quotas that are. I had so many people talk to me. They're like, I don't want to do this. This is dehumanizing and awful, but there's no way I can hit their quota and keep my job unless I do. So what they told me is that's tacit approval of their doing it because they don't want to make any changes to anything.
Well, yeah, if they know about it and they're not doing anything to change it, then that it is approval. You can say that you want to punish it, but I don't understand what the alternative is. Just urinating where you stand. Don't use the bottle, maybe. You said that they address it in meetings. What does that mean? What are they addressing? Like they clearly are not changing the system to stop that from having to happen.
Yeah, what folks told me verbally, the documents show that the punishments in place for these kind of things. But what people told me provided more color because they don't always put everything in writing. What they said was that managers will tend to be like, look, don't get caught, or like, we don't want to see it. You know what I mean? So they're basically saying, when you do this stuff, hide it and throw the bottle out, clean these things out so that the public doesn't see it. So someone like me doesn't end up finding out about it and reporting on it. So it's very disingenuous when they say they don't approve of it. It sounds to me like they don't approve of it's being found out or known. And some of these internal documents talk about finding people defecating in bags multiple times in the past couple weeks or several weeks. So this was something that was very frequent and not a marginal issue, as I initially suspected that it was when I first started reporting on it.
And at least in terms of the urinating in bottles, this had already been documented before the Amazon News Twitter account implied that believing in it was like believing in QAnon. It seems like a weird strategy, considering that the obvious response is going to be, here are the people saying that it happened. Their social media overall campaign seems kind of odd, and you've actually found out quite a bit about their social media front, right?
Right. So in a subsequent report, and I had all sorts of people reach out to me after the first story, and really a lot of people in the first story. I don't think people realize how many. I don't name everyone because I don't want people to get looked into and in trouble. But there were a lot of people involved in this stuff. And so another thing that they gave me was some internal documents showing that they have a social media program codenamed Veritas. And what's interesting is they use it's titled Amazon Confidential. I cover the national security agencies a lot, and it was kind of like, it feels like this cosplay of some sort of Jason Bourne movie or something, where they've got all these secret compartments to keep everything quiet. And it's funny because it's such a ludicrous program. And I talked to people in the comms department; they themselves thought this was crazy. And I'm saying to them, if you guys think this is crazy, why are we doing it? I mean, obviously there's going to be a selection bias for the type of people that are going to talk to you. But there were people that seemed like they were generally true believers and said these kind of almost touchingly, I would say naive things. I mean, they're very nice people. I don't want to denigrate them, but they'd be like, we just want to provide service to the customer or something. And this isn't allowing us, this is undercutting that goal. And so these were not, like left-wing radicals by any means that were alleging some of these things. They were saying, we all thought this idea was crazy, but it was rammed through by senior management. My understanding is there's someone very high at the executive level that's actually bypassing the formal procedures they have for putting out not just these social media statements, but conducting this bot army that I was referring to a moment ago under under the program called Veritas, where they handpick employees to kind of do sassy clapbacks at elected officials. The documents mentioned Bernie Sanders like a dozen times, and it kind of instruct them on how to do these epic Twitter dunks where they're supposed to just be windmill dunking on these figures. I mean, the example given again and again is Bernie Sanders, or I assume progressives. And not just that, but instructed them how to defend Jeff Bezos in this sort of bold and kind of humorous way. They pick people for humor. And one of the most shocking things about these documents is it showed that these are not representative samples from within the company to give you a sense of what they're doing, this Twitter army of real human beings. These aren't bots. These are real humans that are putting out to tweet these things. There's a part in it where it says, we might want to pick people that have not been here very long because they tend to be more enthusiastic. And so there were a lot of telling little quotes like that in it.
Yeah, you lose a bit of, the shine goes away a bit as you definitely
the magic wears off, yeah.
Exactly. It's just hard to, I just can't keep the same motivation.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.